Hello, everyone. Some of you may not know that I graduated from the University of Michigan. And a few days ago, we won the national championship in college football. Raised by a dad who loves sports, I'm the child of his who loves them too, and am proud of the achievements of my university. So please pardon my support for them in my t-shirt today. Go Blue. I am so excited to teach chapter 13 of Revelation. 30 years ago, it was for me the place where I connected the dots of the Old and New Testaments. It was also the place where I realized this information is vital to get to as many people as possible. Finally, it is the place where I can prove to you that we are in the end times. So, please put on your seatbelts. This video is worth the ride. This entire chapter of Revelation is about the Satanic Trinity, which includes the dragon, who is Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. Let's begin at verse 1 with the Antichrist. Notice, he will come out of the sea. In verse 2, we are told that the dragon, or Satan, will give the Antichrist his personal throne and great authority. In verse 3, we see the Antichrist with a fatal wound that has healed. This wound is an interesting connection with Jesus, whose many fatal wounds were healed, and he came back to life. So, this beast, known as the Antichrist, is actually a satanic Jesus. The wound on the Antichrist will bring astonishment to the world, and men will worship this guy. Why will men worship him? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11 says that because they didn't believe, quote, God will send them a powerful delusion so that they believe the lie, end quote. They will believe because verse 9 tells us the Antichrist will display all kinds of counterfeit miracles, signs, and wonders that will cause uninformed people to believe. The Bible tells us the Antichrist blasphemes God for 3.5 years, slandering his name, as well as those in heaven. Daniel chapter 8, verse 23 calls him a master of intrigue. Continuing in Daniel 8, we are told, quote, he will cause astounding devastation and will succeed in whatever he does. He will destroy the mighty men and the holy people. He will cause deceit to prosper, end quote. Daniel chapter 9 says, he will establish peace in Israel for 3.5 years. It is important for us to watch for that peace to come. And he will set himself up in God's temple and proclaim himself to be God, says 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4. This proclamation is called the abomination of desolation, spoken about in the book of Daniel. Now let's look at another member of the Satanic Trinity. He is described in Revelation 13 as yet another beast, but this one comes from the earth rather than the sea. He does all the jobs assigned him by the Antichrist, and he's called the false prophet. First, we are told in verse 13 that he will make the earth and its inhabitants worship the Antichrist. Second, he will perform great miracles. These miracles will cause the inhabitants of the earth to be deceived. Jesus told us about this in Matthew 24, verse 24, when he said, quote, even the elect could be deceived. The false prophet will clone an image of the Antichrist and give breath to that image so that it can speak. If you refuse to worship this image, you will be killed. The most important job of the false prophet is to force a mark on the right hand or forehead of people. Verse 17 tells us, no one will be able to buy or sell without that mark. This is the mark of Satan and is your license to live under Satan's regime. If you take this mark, however, you cannot and will not be saved, but you will be able to buy and sell until Jesus returns. Those who refuse the mark will undoubtedly starve to death. When Jesus returns and sees that mark, its owner will be thrown into the lake of fire. Interestingly, this biblical statement of a cashless society is now slowly taking root in Biden administration's proposal to take America to digital currency. It is a beginning. How soon then will it be before cash is accepted nowhere? That's a beginning, isn't it? Now that we know all of this, comes the most important information. First, we need to realize that none of this could possibly happen before the birth of and advancement of the computer. We have all enjoyed and benefited from such a wonderful invention, but is it in reality an invention of Satan? Without it, the Antichrist can't accomplish his tasks, nor can the false prophet. Governments around the world can now see our every move via satellites that now even follow every car with Bluetooth. Think about the invention of the RFID tags. They sounded so good, but they are really data transmitters that show where we go, what we buy, and more. Will this be the way the Antichrist will be able to see everyone? God seems to be allowing man to create technology that will carry his plan to the end of the world. Satan is already taking people away from religion and church. Once the center of our universe and society, the church has now been replaced by homosexuality, transgender, the LGBTQ generation, and more. Satan has invaded the church. Not all of them, but many. Many churches now accept all these things that were once firmly called sin. Most amazing of all is the fact that 2 Timothy chapter 3 predicted this would happen, and predicted it thousands of years ago. We are told there that in the last days, people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, ungrateful, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. And continuing in chapter 3, we learn Christians will be persecuted, while evildoers will go from bad to worse. I see all of this in our society today, don't you? I believe it is very difficult for anyone to now say we are not in the end times. Thank you for listening. I firmly believe the world will never become a better place. We are today witnessing the Bible coming true on a daily basis. Our job then is to witness. Even if people don't believe us now, they can be saved in the tribulation because of our words, if they endure to the end. People will remember what you and I said. When will you begin to say it? See you Thursday.